Hey, okay, so I am absolutely excited for this movie Call of the Wild. I love Jack London books. I have since I was really young, and yeah, I've read most of his books. and but can anyone explain to me this recent obsession? It's gone about 5 years now, where people just bash these movies before ever seeing them. You haven't seen the movie. You can't criticize something you haven't seen. And first of all, the other thing that really bothers me are people who, I mean, these fans who go after the actors and actresses because of their physical appearance. If you don't like people doing that to you, why would you do that to other people? You are not entitled to do stuff like that. I mean, I remember when, what's her name, Kaylee from The Big Bang Theory, she cut her hair really short, and people just attacked her for that. If she wants to cut her hair short, if she wants to shave her head, she can do that. It's not your decision because it's not your hair. You know, if she wants to suddenly start going goth and wearing all black and doing all that sort of stuff, she can do it. If she wants to start looking like Marilyn Manson, she can do it. And it's not your call. I cannot stand fans who just think that they make the decisions for these people. And half the time, what they're doing is for a part. Just like Harrison Ford, he had the scruffy beard for this movie. Mark Hamill had the beard for a movie. For real, guys. You need to stop. You're bullies. And, you can deny to high heaven that you are, but, proof is in the digital transcripts. Yeah, digital age, isn't it great? So anyway, and so you guys are bashing him for having the beard. If he wanted to keep the beard, he could, as far as I'm concerned. But you guys just go nuts over these people, over their decisions. And but if someone does that to you, then you go all emo and are like, oh my gosh, people are so mean to me. Really? So I have no sympathy for you. Well, anyway, so then all of a sudden I'm seeing people say that he needs to retire. Really? Because Angela Lansbury is still working and Dick Van Dyke is still working. I mean, you guys were absolutely elated over the fact that he was in that second Mary Poppins. I mean, you were spamming all those things where he talked about wanting to be in this. No. Stop contradicting yourselves. He can work for as long as he wants. Stop contradicting yourselves. Just shut up. Oh my gosh. Children. Absolute children. Okay. Again, I mean, you guys just find every reason to just uh piss and moan. Like Good Charlotte says, all I do is piss and moan. Of course, they're talking about the rich and the famous, but it seems to be. Yeah. Now, the other thing is that people are talking about the CGI dog. They're like, oh, you couldn't get a real dog. Okay. Everybody loves Stuart Little, and I seem to remember that that was a computer generated mouse. But yeah. Again, you're contradicting. Wasn't the Mouse and Mouse Hunt computer generated too? I mean, there are so many of these movies where the animals are computer generated, so why is it? And the dog actually looks real. I mean, Dad said we were watching the preview when we went and saw A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. We were watching the preview, and Dad said it took until the end of the preview for me to realize it's not a real dog. So, I don't know what the problem is, but the CGI dog is really not that bad. For one thing, CGI is always looking for something to gripe about. I mean, they went after a dinosaur movie, for gosh sakes. They went after those uh, Jurassic Park movies. So having, I mean, even when they're CGI, they go nuts. The other thing is they went after those Dennis Quaid dog movies and found evidence of animal cruelty, and it came and come to find out that it was debunked, that they were just lying, that they always get people so in a tizzy over nothing. And so, look, I'm fully against animal cruelty. And if there is animal cruelty, then actually prove it. Don't give half truths or lies. That's where I'm coming from. If you actually have if you believe that there's animal cruelty, then show the actual evidence. But that's not what PETA does. And that's what I have to say. So so then with this CGI dog, the other thing is that it got me to remembering, and I've said it in a couple of posts, a scandal that happened when I was really little. And there's other people that might remember it once I mention it. There was a movie when I was like in kindergarten or first grade. I so desperately wanted to see this movie, and my mom said absolutely not. And I mean, she would not let me watch this movie. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why. And as I was reading up on this and everything for this video and everything, I started to remember more about back then. And like the school, see, because when the school that I went to, we always had like Friday Fun Day, and they would bring out the TV with the VHS player and everything, and we would watch a movie. And that was one movie that they never played, and it was always the movies that were popular with us kids. Like they had like the like an American Tail, and they did all these other movies and everything, and they would have like popcorn for us and all that. This is one that they never showed. So The Adventures of Milo and Otis had a lot of controversy surrounding it. There was animal cruelty allegations that surrounded it. And I remember while I was trying desperately to get my mom to let me see this movie, there were kids at school that were, even though they were seeing the movie, they were talking about how there were, there were rumors and all this stuff. Well, didn't you hear that they hurt animals or they killed animals? They killed kittens and puppies to make the movie and everything. Well, you know how kids are. They pick up things that adults say, but they don't understand what it is that they're saying. And I remember them talking about that, and the teacher would silence them. They're like, "No, we're not talking about that." So, and what's funny is, I guess because the teacher said that we don't talk about that, I never talked to my mom about it. And I think this is the only film, I don't know if I said it, but I think this is the only film that my mom ever boycotted. And, I mean, I so desperately wanted to see this film because other kids at school, not all the kids, but it seemed like it. It seemed like I was the odd man out, so to speak. And it was a popular film at the time, and I remember when it showed on TV and my mom would change the channel and everything. I mean, it was that bad. And well, in high school, by about middle school, it kind of, I kind of forgot about it and everything. And here's the thing. When I was in high school, the internet was brand new. In fact, we were calling it electronic email still. It was that new. So the idea of Wikipedia didn't exist or anything like that. And so the idea of looking any of that information up, any information at all, I mean, it was kind of, it probably wouldn't have been there. I mean, all the information that is on the internet now would not have been there. I mean, we had encyclopedias. That's what we had. And the encyclopedias didn't have their websites yet. By the time I got into high school, they did. So when I was in high school, for some reason, we started talking about. Oh, I remember we were about to go into, because it was junior year, and we were talking about senior year and all the nostalgia stuff, and we talked about Milo and Otis. And so we went into the library and we were looking on the internet, and so we were looking up this movie. And one of my friends says, "Do you remember all those rumors going around about the killing of kittens and puppies and all the other animals to make the movie?" I was like, was that true, or was that just one of those weird things that kids just kind of. I said, I remember our teacher silencing us every time we talked about it. Like, it must have been a lie or something. And my mom never let me see the movie, so we looked it up, and it turned out that uh, it says here Australian animal rights organizations raised allegations of animal cruelty during filming and called for a boycott. So there were a lot of investigations going on and everything. The film was reported to have the approval of the American Humane Society. And so there were still investigations going around, but it's like, even though these investigations, they hit dead ends. So it's almost like it wasn't really confirmed that these animals weren't injured or anything like that. So it was odd. And at that time, when we were looking it up and everything, it was almost like it was still an open case and everything. And now it's like nobody's, I mean, they've just kind of given up. I mean, nobody's going to talk, nobody's going to, and everything. So I haven't seen the movie, and because again, why would I contribute to something that's animal cruelty? So that could possibly be cruel to animals. And so, I mean, I was just like, I mean, this was a movie that I so badly wanted to see when I was a kid. And I remember other kids were seeing it. And when we were reading this, one of my friends, she goes, "This was my favorite movie when I was a kid. And now this leaves like a sick feeling in my stomach that this was going on behind the scenes, quite possibly going on behind the scenes." She goes, I don't know. And so, and one of the other movies that I remember when we were in middle school, because it was Homeward Bound, which is, of course, the incredible journey and everything. I don't remember there being any controversy surrounding that movie. And so it's kind of like any other. I mean, lately it's like every animal film that is released now, PETA shows up. But when I was in middle school and as a kid, there were quite a few of these movies popping up, but the only one was um, Milo and Otis, and it was pretty. I mean, it was bad. Like I said, kids were talking about it, but kids they pick up what the adults are saying, but don't really know what it is they're saying. That's why the teacher silenced us, I'm sure. So anyway, the CGI dog in Call of the Wild does not bother me. It looks real. Like I said, my dad thought that it was a real dog until the end of the. He said the dog turned his head just right, and then I realized it's not a real dog. I'm really excited to see this movie, and everything. But yeah, when people are just complaining and everything about the real dog, and I'm like, you know what? Every time we turn around, PETA shows up and just complains and has to start drama where it doesn't need to be started, and try to get everybody all up in arms. And it's like there isn't animal cruelty here. And they need to, I mean, especially when you go after a dinosaur movie. Really? Those are CGI. And you know that they're gonna go after this movie because that's what they do. And it's just anyway, but yeah, when I was hearing everybody go nuts, and it just triggered something reminding me of this, and I'm just curious, does anybody else remember this controversy of Milo and Otis? Did anybody else, was anybody else a kid during that time? I was in kindergarten or first grade when this movie came out, and oh my gosh, I so badly wanted to see it, and I couldn't understand why my mom wouldn't let me see it. I think this is the only movie she ever boycotted. And at the time, I couldn't understand. I've never seen the movie, so I guess I'm boycotting it too. But again, animal cruelty, I just will not stand for. So, but yeah, I'm curious. Does anybody remember it? It just feels like one of those things. And Homeward Bound, I looked it up. There wasn't anything surrounding the movie. I mean, nothing. So anyway, I'm excited for Call of the Wild. I can't wait to see it. I love the book and everything. And yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Any of you that might remember it.